I didn't feel anything. That's what I remember most. No pain, no burning, no warning. The air smelled clean. The night was quiet. The fire was almost beautiful. Blue and purple flames dancing on the roof of Reactor 4. I stood 50 meters from the most dangerous place on Earth, and I felt nothing. For 36 hours, I walked and talked and laughed and held my wife. For 36 hours, I was already dead. I just didn't know it yet. My name is Sergei Volkov. I was 26 years old, a firefighter in Pripyat, Soviet Union, the proudest city in Ukraine, home to the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant, the future of Soviet energy. On April 26, 1986, that future exploded, and I was one of the first men to walk into the flames. They called us heroes afterward. But heroes don't spend 3 weeks watching their own skin fall off. Heroes don't watch their friends rot from the inside while doctors stand helpless. Heroes don't lie to their pregnant wives about why their hands won't stop shaking. We weren't heroes. We were sacrifices. And nobody told us we were being sacrificed until it was far too late. This is the story of the night the atom split open. The night the Soviet Union poisoned a continent. The night I learned that the most dangerous thing in the world isn't radiation. It's a government that would rather let you die than admit it made a mistake. April 25th, 1986. One day before. Pripyat was paradise. I know that sounds strange. A Soviet city, gray buildings, communist propaganda on every corner. But for us, it was the future. 49,000 people, average age 26, engineers, scientists, workers, young families building a new world. We had a swimming pool, a cinema, a brand new amusement park that was going to open in 5 days for the May Day celebration. And we had the plant. 4 reactors. Massive, powerful, the pride of Soviet engineering. I could see the plant from my apartment window. My wife Katya and I would sit on the balcony in the evenings, watching the steam rise from the cooling towers. That's the future, I told her once. Clean energy, no coal, no smoke, just atoms. She was 3 months pregnant. We were going to name the baby Alexei if it was a boy, Natasha if it was a girl. We never got to find out. That morning, April 25th, I worked a normal shift at the fire station, station number 2, 6 of us on duty. Lieutenant Pravik was in charge, 23 years old, married 6 months. He would be dead in 16 days. We played cards, cleaned the trucks, complained about the food. Normal day. Around 5 in the afternoon, someone mentioned there was a safety test happening at the plant that night. Some kind of experiment with Reactor 4. Nobody thought much of it. Tests happened all the time. I went home at 7. Katya had made borscht. We ate dinner, watched television, made plans for the May Day holiday. "Let's take the baby to see the amusement park when it opens," she said, touching her belly. "The baby won't even have eyes yet," I laughed. "Then we'll describe it, every detail." We went to bed at 11. I kissed her forehead. "See you in the morning," I said. I didn't know that by morning I would already be dying. April 26th, 1:23 in the morning. The phone rang. I was dreaming about something. I don't remember what. Katya groaned and pulled the pillow over her head. I grabbed the receiver. "Volkov, fire at the power plant. Roof of Unit 4. All units responding." I was dressed and out the door in 3 minutes. The streets were empty, dark, quiet. But when I looked toward the plant, I saw something strange. A glow. Not orange like normal fire. Blue. Blue and purple, shifting and dancing. and above it a column of light shooting straight up into the sky, like a searchlight pointing at the stars. Beautiful. I didn't know I was looking at an open nuclear reactor. Didn't know that column of light was radioactive graphite burning at over 2,000 degrees. Didn't know that every breath I would take for the next 6 hours was filling my lungs with particles that would kill me. I just saw fire, and I was a firefighter. So I went. 1:35 in the morning. We arrived at the plant. Lieutenant Pravik was already there with the first unit. He was standing near Reactor 4, looking up at the roof. I jumped out of the truck and ran to him. "What do we have?" He didn't answer right away, just kept staring at the building. The roof of Reactor 4 was gone. Just gone. A massive hole where the roof should have been, and inside that hole, fire. Blue fire, purple fire, colors I'd never seen flames make before. "The reactor," Pravik said quietly. I think it exploded." "That's impossible. Reactors don't explode." "Then what do you call that?" I looked at the ground around us. There were chunks of something scattered everywhere, black blocks, heavy, some the size of bricks, some the size of cars. I didn't know what they were. I found out later. Graphite. The graphite that surrounds the uranium fuel rods. The graphite that's only found inside the reactor core. It was lying on the ground like garbage, which meant the core was open, which meant we were standing in the middle of a radiation field that would kill an unprotected human in 60 seconds. But we didn't know. Nobody told us. So we started fighting the fire. I remember climbing the ladder. The metal was warm under my hands. Not hot, just warm. I didn't think anything of it. I remember reaching the roof and seeing the flames up close. They weren't normal flames. They danced differently, moved differently. The colors kept shifting, blue to purple to white to blue again. And the heat was strange. It didn't feel like standing near a fire. It felt like standing inside a fire, like the heat was coming from everywhere at once, from the air, from the ground, from inside my own chest. I remember my partner, Nikolai, saying, "My mouth tastes like metal." I licked my lips. He was right, a sharp, metallic taste, like sucking on a copper coin. I didn't know that taste. It was radiation, ionizing particles hitting my tongue, destroying cells, killing tissue. I was tasting my own death. We fought the fire for 4 hours, hauling hoses, spraying water, climbing on roofs that were radioactive enough to kill us in minutes. The water turned to steam instantly when it hit certain areas. Nobody asked why. We were Soviet firefighters. We followed orders. We didn't ask questions. Around 3 in the morning, I started feeling dizzy. Thought it was exhaustion. Around 4, I started feeling nauseous. Thought it was the smoke. Around 5, I vomited behind the fire truck. Thought I had eaten something bad. I didn't know my bone marrow was already dying. Didn't know my immune system was shutting down. Didn't know the radiation had already done damage that no medicine could fix. I was dead. I just didn't know it yet. 6 in the morning. They finally pulled us back. Pravik was pale, sweating. He couldn't stop coughing. "Something's wrong," he said. "Something's really wrong." A man in a suit appeared. Government. He gathered us together. "Good work, comrades. The fire is contained. The situation is under control." "What about the reactor?" someone asked. "The reactor is fine. Minor damage. Nothing to worry about." "But the roof is gone. We saw..." "You saw a fire. You put it out. That's all you need to know." He handed out small pills. "Lodine tablets," he said. "Precautionary. Go home. Rest. You're heroes of the Soviet Union." I took the pills, went home. Katya was awake, worried. I saw the glow from the window. What happened? Fire at the plant. It's out now. Are you okay? Just tired. I took a shower. The water felt strange on my skin, like my whole body was sunburned. I thought it was from the heat. It wasn't. It was radiation burn. The beginning of acute radiation syndrome. I climbed into bed next to my pregnant wife, and I slept, not knowing that I was contaminating her with every breath, not knowing that the baby growing inside her was absorbing radiation from my irradiated body, not knowing that everything was already over. April 26th, morning. Pripyat woke up like nothing had happened. Children went to school. People went to work. The bakery opened. The cinema showed its Saturday matinee. A wedding was scheduled for 2 in the afternoon. Nobody knew. The government didn't announce anything. The local radio played music. Normal programs. No warnings. I woke around noon. Felt worse than before. My skin was red. My throat was raw. My head was pounding. "You look terrible," Katya said. "Just need rest." But I couldn't rest because I couldn't stop vomiting. Every 30 minutes, then every 15, then constantly. Katya wanted to take me to the hospital. "It's just flu," I said. "Don't worry." She worried anyway. Around 2 in the afternoon, I looked out the window. The wedding was happening across the street. Bride in white, groom in his best suit, families celebrating. And in the distance, smoke still rising from Reactor 4. Nobody at the wedding knew. Nobody in the whole city knew. They were breathing radioactive air, drinking radioactive water. Their children were playing in radioactive dust. And the government said nothing, because admitting the truth would mean admitting failure. And the Soviet Union didn't fail, ever. Even when failure was killing 50,000 people. April 26th. Evening. A knock on the door. 2 men in suits, government officials. Sergei Volkov. "Yes. You need to come with us. Medical examination." Katya started crying. "What's wrong? What's happening?" "Nothing, citizen. Routine checkup for all emergency responders." They took me to the hospital. The hallways were full. Every firefighter from the night before was there. Pravik, Nikolai, all of them. Some were vomiting, some were shaking, some couldn't stand. I saw a doctor talking to a nurse in the corner. I heard him say, "Acute radiation syndrome, at least 20 confirmed cases. Maybe more." Acute radiation syndrome. I didn't know what it meant. I learned soon enough. It means your body is dying from the inside out. Your bone marrow stops making blood cells. Your immune system collapses. Your organs begin to fail. Your skin blisters and peels. And there's nothing anyone can do except watch. They put me in a bed, drew blood. A doctor came, young, scared. "How long were you at the reactor?" 4 hours. Maybe 5. He wrote something on his clipboard. His hand was shaking. "What about protective equipment?" "We had helmets, regular gear. No lead, no respirators. No, nobody told us we needed them." He closed his eyes. "Nobody told you." It wasn't a question. It was a death sentence. April 27th, 2 in the afternoon, 36 hours after the explosion. The announcement finally came. Loudspeakers throughout the city. "Attention, citizens of Pripyat. Due to an accident at the Chernobyl Nuclear Power Plant, a temporary evacuation is being conducted. Please gather essential documents and enough food and clothing for 3 days. Buses will arrive shortly. This is a temporary measure. You will return home soon." Temporary. 3 days. Nobody ever went back. From my hospital window, I watched. 1,100 buses, lined up through the streets, filling with people, families carrying suitcases, children clutching toys, old women refusing to leave their cats. 49,000 people evacuated in 3 hours, leaving behind everything: their apartments, their furniture, their photographs, their pets, their entire lives. They thought they'd be back in 3 days. It's been decades. The city is still empty, still radioactive, still frozen in April 1986. A ghost town where time stopped. I watched Katya get on a bus. She was crying, reaching toward the hospital window. I couldn't go with her. I was too sick to move. "I'll see you soon," I shouted. I didn't know if I was lying. The bus pulled away. I never saw Pripyat again. The weeks that followed were horrid. They transferred us to Moscow. Hospital number 6, the only facility in the Soviet Union equipped for radiation cases. There were 28 of us from the first response, all dying. Pravik went first, 16 days after the explosion. His body had been destroyed from the inside. His bone marrow was gone. His skin had turned black and started falling off. He was 23 years old. He'd been married 6 months. His wife was pregnant too. Nikolai lasted 19 days. Same thing. Organs failing one by one, skin sloughing off like wet paper. The doctors couldn't touch us toward the end. We were too radioactive. They had to change our sheets with long poles, feed us through tubes, watch from behind LED screens. We rotted alive. I was one of the lucky ones. My dose was lower than the others. I was farther from the core, spent less time on the roof. I survived, if you can call it survival. My skin healed, mostly. The scars are still there. My blood recovered, eventually. But my immune system never worked the same. My lungs were damaged, permanently. I still can't climb stairs without stopping to breathe. And Katya lost the baby. 3 weeks after the evacuation, the doctor said it was the radiation, said the fetus had absorbed too much from my contaminated body when I came home, and held her. I killed my own child, not with my hands, with my breath, with my skin, with every moment I spent near my wife while invisible poison leaked from my body. The government gave me a medal, Hero of the Soviet Union, a piece of metal for killing my baby, for watching my friends rot, for trusting the people who sent us into that fire without a single word of warning. They told us the reactor couldn't explode. They were wrong. They told us the radiation levels were safe. They were lying. They told us the evacuation was temporary. They knew it was permanent. Every step of the way, the Soviet government chose its reputation over our lives, chose silence over truth, chose medals over medicine, and we believed them. Because that's what we were taught to do. Trust the state, trust the experts, trust the men in suits who tell you everything is fine, even when your mouth tastes like metal, even when your skin is burning, even when your friends are vomiting blood. Trust them until you can't anymore, because you're dead. I think about that night a lot. The blue fire, the strange heat, the taste of metal on my tongue, and the silence, the terrible silence of a government that knew we were dying and let us die anyway. 28 firefighters responded that night. 23 died within months. Hundreds of liquidators, the workers sent to clean up the disaster, died in the years that followed. Thousands more got cancer, leukemia, thyroid tumors. Children in Belarus and Ukraine were born with deformities for decades. The true death toll? Nobody knows. The Soviet Union hid the numbers, destroyed the records. buried the truth along with the bodies. Some say 4,000, some say 90,000, some say the killing never stopped. And Pripyat is still there, empty, frozen in time. The amusement park never opened, the Ferris wheel never turned, the bumper cars never moved. They sit there now, rusting in the radioactive air, monuments to a future that never came. People ask me, would you do it again? Would you climb that ladder, fight that fire, walk into those flames knowing what you know now? And I tell them the truth. Yes. Not because I was brave, not because I was a hero, because I didn't know. Nobody told me. If they had said, Sergei, that fire is nuclear. You will die if you go near it, I would have run. Any sane person would have run. But they didn't tell us. They let us climb into our trucks, let us drive toward the glow, let us walk into a death sentence with smiles on our faces, because we thought we were saving our city. We were, but nobody was saving us. The lesson of Chernobyl isn't about nuclear power. It's about trust, about what happens when governments value their image more than their people, about what happens when experts refuse to admit they were wrong, about what happens when ordinary men are sent to die by people who will never face consequences. I trusted the Soviet Union. I trusted my commanders. I trusted the men in suits who told us everything was fine. And that trust killed my friends, killed my baby, nearly killed me. The most radioactive thing in Chernobyl that night wasn't the reactor, it was the lies. The lies spread farther, lasted longer, killed more people. And unlike radiation, lies never decay. They just get buried until someone digs them up. They built a sarcophagus over Reactor 4, concrete and steel, a tomb for the most dangerous place on Earth. But it's cracking, leaking. They're building a new one now, bigger, stronger, because the old one is failing, because Chernobyl is still there, still burning, still killing. 38 years later, and it's still not over. The elephant's foot, the mass of melted nuclear fuel in the basement, is still so radioactive that it will kill you in minutes. The forest around the plant is still so contaminated that the trees don't decompose properly. The animals have returned, wolves and horses and birds, but they're different now, changed, adapted to a poisoned world. And the people who lived there, some went back. Old women, mostly. They said they'd rather die at home than live as refugees, and many of them did, are still doing it. Still living in the shadow of the broken reactor, still drinking the water, still breathing the air, still waiting. I left the Soviet Union in 1991, moved to Germany, doctors there, better treatment. I'm still alive. Somehow, my lungs are ruined, my immune system is broken, my hands shake, but I'm alive. And every year on April 26th, I think about Pravik, about Nikolai, about the 23 men who climbed those ladders with me and never came back down, about Katya, who divorced me 3 years later because she couldn't look at me without seeing the baby we lost, about the 50,000 people who woke up that morning thinking they lived in paradise and went to sleep as refugees, never to return home. Chernobyl didn't just destroy a city, it destroyed trust in government, in science, in the people who are supposed to protect us. And that destruction, that's still spreading, still contaminating, still killing. Long after the radiation fades, they say time heals all wounds. They're wrong. Some wounds don't heal, they just become part of you. I carry Chernobyl in my bones, in my damaged lungs, in my shaking hands, in the dreams where I'm still climbing that ladder, still seeing that blue fire, still tasting metal on my tongue. I carry my dead friends. I carry my lost child. I carry the lie that nobody told us. And I'll carry it until the day I finally join the others. Because that's what survivors do. We carry the dead. We remember what happened. We tell the truth that others tried to bury. So it never happens again. Except it does. Fukushima, 2011. Different country, different reactor. Same lies, same delays, same denials, same sacrifices. Same ordinary people sent into danger without knowing what they faced. Because governments never learn. They just find new ways to bury the truth. And new people to sacrifice. I was one of those people. I walked into the mouth of a broken atom. And I'm still here, still breathing, still remembering, still telling this story. Because someone has to. I was there. And now, you were too. If you made it this far, leave in the comments, would you have trusted your government? And if you want to hear more stories from people who were there in history's worst moments, subscribe to I Was There.